Welcome to the Studio Chat podcast. My name is Barbara Thompson. Each week, I'll be bringing you a self-care expert or a message to help you to discover how to live your best life and understand your mind-body connection. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now, let the Studio Chat begin. Welcome to episode 43. I loved having a chat with Ash because I don't know about you, but I had never heard of kinesiology, and sometimes I struggle to say it too. So I hadn't heard of it until I came across Ash on social media and thought I have to speak to her and find out more about this practice, and I think it's a really great form of self-care. So I'd love to introduce you to Ash today. She's an emotions and metaphysical kinesiologist. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? She has a background in holistic counselling, psychology, and neuro linguistic programming. See, I'm probably going to get my tongue tied a little bit today. At her business, Grounded Soul Kinesiology, Ash focuses to help you work through old emotions, blockages, belief systems, patterns, and behaviours that are holding you back and keeping you from moving forward. Through the use of kinesiology, holistic counselling, and NLP techniques, she aims to empower and inspire her clients to live a grounded and abundant life free of limitations. And she works with kids, adults, and animals. So it is for anyone who wants to try it out and see what kinesiology is all about. So I kind of think if you're in a place in your life now where you're ready to find your why, or you're ready to connect to your true purpose, or you're ready to connect into your spiritual self, ready to shift your old patterns that stop you from being who you are, ready to master your mind and release overthinking, or just, you know how you kind of had those thoughts that run in your head over and over again and give you anxiety? You might be ready to receive more from your relationship with others, ready to connect to yourself and your physical vessel on a deeper level, ready to harness the right tools and techniques to live an optimal life. You might be ready to remove self-sabotaging behaviours. That's a really good one. And ready to feel abundant, grounded, and alive. So this is why I have Ash on my podcast today to talk about all of these things and to share with us why she does what she does and what does kinesiology mean and how it can help you if you're feeling stuck or if you're wanting a bit more out of life. So yeah, get nice and comfortable, and I know you're going to enjoy this episode 43 with Ash. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Studio Chat. I'd love you to give a warm welcome to Ash. Hey Ash, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I feel like this is really meant to be because I just mentioned to you before, I'm new to all this stuff and we'll unpack what this stuff means. But we're talking on the 11th of the 11th at 11. And I think with my limited knowledge, that means something, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. 11 in numerology is a master number. So when it's 11:11 at 11 a.m. and then 22 is also a power number too. So it's yeah, amazing day to do a podcast with you.
Oh wow! And I just got covered in goosebumps. I got confirmation that I'm talking to the master right now, which is or I can call you sensei or something. So I'd love to, before we really get into what you do, I would love for you to share with my listeners just who you are and a bit about what you do and what got you into doing what you do.
Yep. So my name's Ash, obviously. Hello, everyone. I am an emotions and metaphysical kinesiologist. And what that means is we focus more on the depths of what's going on for you. So there's other forms of kinesiology where it's more applied, where you're working with the muscles that relate to the organs. But this form is more, I guess, energetic and spiritual and really focuses on the emotional well-being of the person. Personally, I am someone who is quite impatient. I love to learn, so I'm always looking, to add things to my skill set. I've done a degree in psychology, holistic counselling. I think I tapped into Reiki there for a little bit, energetic stuff. And then I went on and did my kinesiology training and NLP training. So I love to work with the mind and the emotions. But yeah, when I'm learning, I just want to get it done. Like, let's go. Let's share it with everyone else. I've got 2 little groodles. Well, not little, they're quite big. So I'm a big animal lover. What else can I tell you? I live like down the Mornington Peninsula, love it there. I'm obsessed with the beach. I'll get into the water whenever I can. I'm a Leo, if anyone's into astrology. You're a Leo too? Yeah. There we go. Look at us raw. We're loving it.
Wow, we're masters and we're Leos. And yeah, no wonder we get on.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I don't really know what else to add to that. I love what I do. I love where I live, and I feel like at the moment in my life, I'm in a really beautiful space in all kind of facets.
Wow. So you said a few big words in there, which people would be like, well, you mentioned, was it emotions and metaphysical in
kinesiology?
I was going to butcher that. Thank you for saving me.
That's okay.
So do we backtrack and talk about what is kinesiology first?
Yeah, of course. So for those that don't know, which there are plenty out there, so yeah, please don't think, oh God, I should know that. There's no shoulds in my world. It's just, you don't know, so let's find out. So it's kinesiology works with your subconscious mind. And when we talk about the subconscious mind, that's all of our hidden patterns, beliefs, behaviors, limiting, emotions, all that kind of stuff that gets hidden. So if you think about that image of an iceberg, we only see maybe 5% of the top of the iceberg, and the bottom of the iceberg is that 95%. So that 95% is our subconscious mind. So within kinesiology, the way that we access that is through what's called muscle testing. It's predominantly on the arm. I mean, we can self-muscle test as kinesiologists on ourselves if it's through online or whatever it is. But generally, the client will get up on the table, they'll have their arm kind of like, the drinking bird on The Simpsons.
Yep, yes.
It will go up and down. If there's an imbalance or a stress within the body, the arm will go down. So the best way that I can describe that is, if you say you love bananas, but you actually dislike bananas, your arm will go down because that's a stress on the body. And it's a disharmony between the conscious and the subconscious mind. So consciously you're saying, I love bananas, but internally your cells, your memory, your emotions are like, ugh, yuck, like we hate bananas. So let's say that's not true by communicating that through the arm. So in a sense, kinesiology works with, like I said, the limiting patterns, beliefs, and behaviors that are stored within that body. So and, if you wanted to actually like bananas, we can find where that stress has come from by muscle testing back to an age of maybe it was when you had a banana squashed in your face as a 5-year-old and you were like, I hate them so much. Then we clear that emotional stress around that memory. And we can use many, many different remedies. If I just go through a few, the most predominant ones that I use that tend to always come up is essential oils, crystals, plant essences, so flower essences, things like that, and acupressure points. So we're changing the memory on the cellular level, on, I guess, the mind level, the emotional level, spiritual level, and then coming off the table, the person will feel different. It's not to say that they'll go and reach for a banana and be like, oh my God, this is lovely. But it's clearing the stress that's around that, so they're more, I guess, open to changing that energy that they feel before they reach for a banana. I don't know why I'm using a banana as a reference. Do you not like bananas?
No, I do.
Okay.
Maybe my subconscious doesn't. No, I love bananas, but it's interesting because I think just to go back a little bit, if this is new to a lot of people, so your subconscious, when we have our beliefs and our values and really what drives us every day without us knowing, usually can come from that first 7 years of our life, because it's kind of like, I always describe it as kind of our brain I'm not trained as in all the beautiful areas that you are, but I kind of think of it as your brain's open and you're watching even when you're in the womb, you're listening to everything, you're watching everything. You don't even realize that's where a lot of your values and beliefs and stuff come from. And then after about 7 to 12 years old, that kind of sunroof closes, and that's kind of cemented, and we can always, we're always rushing, we're always trying to keep everyone happy and living a life that isn't really ours. And if we don't tap into that bottom part of the iceberg, 9 times out of 10, tell me if you agree or disagree, that bottom part of the iceberg has been created for you by your surroundings and by other people. And that's sometimes why you have that disconnect from what you're doing as a job or your health or your friendships, is because you're living a life that first 7 to 12 years isn't Barbara's life or Ash's life or someone else's life. Is there some truth to that?
Oh, yeah, you've nailed it. 100%. Like it's, yeah, and something that I read and I added into my anxiety workshop, just as you were speaking about the memory of it, it's actually when we're the fetus in the womb, we hold the memories of the mum, and we hold them within our hippocampus, which is a part of our brain that stores memories, for the first, I think it was 3 years of our life. So we're actually, it's quite fascinating. So this is why it's so important to get to the bottom of that iceberg, to actually acknowledge and understand, okay, I continue to repeat this pattern throughout my life. Why is this coming up? Why is it coming up? And looking back to those, formative years of 0 to 7 years old, and realizing that at that age we are, like you said, like we're a sponge and we're taking in everything on so many different levels of mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and that's adding to our internal system of this is forming a belief for me. So if we have a parent that's constantly saying, be quiet, don't speak, shut your mouth, don't be too loud, as we get older, our voice is not going to be heard and we're not going to feel confident to speak up. And that forms that belief of like, it's not safe to be heard. So then within a session within kinesiology, if there's a pattern of that person coming through and they're trying to speak up at work, but they can't, or they feel like they're being criticized, we need to go to that layer of the stress to activate that memory from, whatever age it was. And it could be multiple layers. So what I say to most of my clients is we are like onions. And just because we've tackled one of those memories where your dad or your mum said, hey, be quiet, go to your room, doesn't mean we've uncovered the root. So there's multiple layers of that stress that we need to clear and shift, that when that's cleared and shift, you start to notice your external reality be like, oh, my boss isn't criticizing me anymore, and he's actually hearing, or she's actually hearing what I have to say. And then that changes your belief and that changes your identity to be like, what I have to say deserves to be heard, deserves to be like respected and things like that. So it all starts with that awareness and acceptance of what was. So exactly like you said, Barbara, like in the formative years, and then moving forward to now to be like, well, how is this pattern showing up here and how can I move through that?
And I think for anyone that's listening, if you're a new mum or you're going to be a mum or you've got teenage kids or whatever part of that stage you're at, all of us, and whether we have kids or not, we have fur babies or whatever, we all go through different stages in life. So your 20s, your 30s, your 40s and whatever. And that's when every decade or every life stage, people tend to feel like they hit a wall. And all that means is whatever your subconscious is, whatever your values and beliefs are, they're just not serving you anymore. And you may need to tweak them. And I feel it's a really good thing.
Because I was literally about to say that. I'm like, when you hit a wall, celebrate. Like you're evolving.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out there. And you know what? If I'm being really honest right now, I don't know if envy is a really kind word, but I envy the people that can stay in a job for 50 years and be married for that, that length of time and live in the same house and go the same way to work every day and live in that really safe zone. I'm at the completely different end, but sometimes I get these fantasy moments where I go, shit, I wish I was like that.
yeah, the complete oblivious, like, what's going on? I always say to some people of my clients, I'm like, the self-awareness, yeah, it's great, but man, is it exhausting at times.
100%. Yes, yes, yes. I have to agree with you. And that's why I have moments where I go, oh, why did I upset the apple cart? As a kid, I've always been like this. So it's not as if I've always been that firecracker and always pushed the boundaries in every aspect. But I wish that I was like, oh, I wish I could just turn all that off. But then I wouldn't be Barbara. But, I just wish I could be like, like just my life. And it's just living in this fantasy world where everything's like semi-okay. And yeah, it's great.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, I guess for you, I mean, if I got my hands on you as a client, I would be like, why does it have to be a fantasy? Why can't you make that your reality? Because you can.
Yeah. There you go. Nice challenge. Yeah, I'm up for it. Hey, look, yeah. And I think it's just because there's so much learning. And I think too, when you're doing this growth work or learning about yourself or, I really want to live a life that fulfills me. It's really hard because you feel like you've gone 10 steps forward and then all of a sudden you'll just feel like you've gone 500 steps back. And I've really made those numbers to be really different from each other to show people that variation that is really normal. Like even in my own personal journey, I've gone leaps and bounds over the last 8 years with a lot of therapy and a lot of mindset shifts, and I've been doing the work.
Yeah.
But I know I've gone so far forward and I'm so proud of myself. But I'm in a season at the moment where I just go, shit, it feels like I am like, I always use this. I feel like I've like skidded my ass on concrete and I've got gravel, I've just got cuts and bruises and I'm starting over again.
Yeah.
Where I'm really not. And that's why I think a lot of people don't see whatever type of self-care it is, whether it's someone like you or it's a psychologist or a counselor, or you reached out to someone to change a pattern or change something that you always do. It's hard and it's uncomfortable. And I can see why a lot of people go to a couple of sessions and be like, oh, nah. And it's like seeing a trainer or changing the way you eat or whatever. It's great for the first couple of sessions. It's a bit of a novelty. And then the work sets in and you just go, fuck that, see ya.
Yeah, totally. And that's something that it's interesting that you mentioned that. It's something that I actually test for with clients. So their willingness to clear that stress, and it comes up more often than you think because there's always that benefit of why we want to remain the same.
It's comfortable.
100%. It's comfortable, or, we may be getting like, for instance, I had a client, without disclosing too much information, but they wanted to, have this abundance and earn a lot and all this kind of stuff, but they were blocking themselves, and there's this willingness of not wanting to get there because then that means that they, in their mind, they wouldn't get the nurturing and love from their partner, because at the moment their partner is giving them that, financial gain, and they're helping and supporting them by doing that. And the fear was with her that if she was to start to earn her own money, then how would they support her, as in the partner? How would that love and support come through? So there's this real kind of like, the client will come with the stress and present it as, I want to earn more, like I'm striving for this. And the willingness isn't there because it's like, well, by you staying in that, you're actually getting what you need and what you want with that love and support. So we've got to kind of marry up the two to be like, once you get that abundance, you still have the support in so many other ways.
But if you've got the willingness to change, is that a really good first step? If someone's listening to this, they're going to go more into kinesiology and stuff. But if someone, it might be in a job they're not happy in a relationship they're not happy in a family dynamic that it's just the same shit every Christmas. We're coming up to Christmas. It can be the same thing. Someone can just be, especially after the last few years, just really not happy but don't know why. Is that a really good starting point for someone to reach out to someone like you and just go, and even if people may not know, they can reach out to you and go, I feel stuck?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Because what we, it's kind of like what we were speaking about off record before, where it's that disconnect. right? Like if the person's saying, oh, I'm feeling the stress, but I don't know what we actually do in kinesiology is we let the body talk. So that's why where the emotions come in. I've got, emotion charts everywhere within my clinic and practice. And if you're laying there like, I'm in a funk, I'm stuck, but I don't know how to move forward, or I don't even know how I got here, then we can actually test through and be like, okay, well, the emotion that you're storing is anxiety, or it's fear, or it's sluggishness, or it's something, and that links to a certain age, and this links to a certain part within your body, within your energy system, and then that will tell us so much more about why they're where they're at. So it's actually quite, I always like to say, if someone's coming to me, either like, if there's a surface level stress, great, we can clear that, we can work on that. If they're coming to me and they're like, I don't know what's going on, I'm a bit lost, let's see what, comes up, I get really excited, because it's not that surface level stress anymore. We're actually getting to the deeper layers and the depths of them to be like, okay, well, if you're feeling discouraged or lost, like, have you thought about this? This is the emotion that's coming up. What does that mean to you? So then it opens that healing for them to actually witness, oh, well, I was feeling stuck, but I didn't realize that my body was holding the stress of, I don't know, criticism, for example. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So it's giving people that are listening to this, because I have a fair idea that there's some people are listening to this that with the new year's always a nice time for people to make changes. That's how a lot of people operate, is I'll wait till January. I'll do So if anyone's listening to this now, have a think over the next few weeks that if you do want to clear out, or you are just stuck, or you want something better, but you just don't know how to get there, contact Ash, because I really believe that I know we're going to be working together. So
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. So I'd love to talk about, we did touch a little bit on how does kinesiology benefit people? So if you've got any
what was that? Sorry?
Got any examples or anything of how it can benefit us if we go along with this practice?
Yeah. So I guess there's no such thing as like a one size client, or like this benefits in this way. Whenever someone comes to see me, it's fascinating that every single session is so unique and so independent to that specific person that it will take its own avenue of growth. As a kinesiologist, and having practiced for a little while now, like, you work with that sense of like, it's like the totality of the human experience. So you don't have, like, people ask with me, oh, who do you work with? I'm like, oh, anyone who needs it. And I know that in the coaching world or whatever, you have your niche and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I'm like, well, whoever needs that, everyone goes through stress, so let's work to clear that. So yeah, I guess everyone can benefit from kinesiology, and that's not to be like, everyone come see me, but it's like,
no, everyone do come and see you. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
But yeah, to benefit from the session, there's so many different ways that you can. If you have a physical pain of, let's say, I don't know, your hips, and that's been with you for life, you've had massage, osteo, chiro, all of that, and nothing's working. Emotionally and metaphysically, which, sorry, I didn't go into before. So metaphysical is what's beneath the physical pain. What's the message behind that pain? So the metaphysical meaning of hip pain, depending on what side. So let's say it's, I don't know, your left hip. That links to emotional support. So who are you literally carrying on your hip? How are you supporting people through life? And maybe that's, coming back to the people pleasing, where, oh, I need to do this, I should do this, I have to do this, I'm obligated to do this. But it's actually, no, that's something that developed from, your subconscious patterning and needing to be the peacekeeper in the family, or the middle maker, and you always had to be that one to carry everyone else with you. So on a physical sense, any practitioner, massage, osteo, chiro, that's going into that pain, they're treating the symptoms and the signs of that pain. But the thing that's holding that stuck energy within that sore hip is the emotion of obligation, or the emotion of, I don't know, the thought that your needs don't matter and you have to carry everyone else before you carry yourself. So it's really putting yourself off balance. And so if you're going through physical pain, kinesiology can unpack that emotion. We can talk about it. We can clear it through different remedies. And, I've had a client who had knee pain, and she messaged me the next day and she's like, I've had surgeries. I've had, so much like help on this knee pain. And she's like, and it's not there, because we cleared it on the energetic and emotional sense. And she's just like, I'm just amazed at why it's not there. Like, because you're okay, so your mind holds your thoughts and your body holds your emotions. So if you have that left knee pain, right knee pain, that's your body's way of talking to you to be like, hey, there's something underneath this. And it doesn't matter how many times you go to the massage place, if it's not working, start to look at the emotional reasons of why that's there. And that's what kinesiology can do, because that's your literally giving your body the opportunity to be like, this is what it needs, this is what it's holding, this is how we can clear it.
Wow. So when you talk about metaphysical pain, could it be something along the lines of when your body's out of balance? As in, I know I see a lot of clients that either have one or two things. They either don't go to the toilet for days, which astounds me. And especially I know those clients because part of what I do is holistic.
Yep.
And I do ask the question, so how regular are you? And I either have ones that go, a few times, 3 or 4 times a day, easy. And then I get ones that sit there and go, and instantly I'm like, wow, you have to think about it. But then they're also, and it happens all the time. It's like, what's today? Yeah. I think it was 5 or 7 days ago. And I'm like,
wow.
So literally you're full of shit. So I'm interesting when you say that the body stores emotions, which is great because I've learned that today. Part of that, a lot of women talk about bloating or constipation or diarrhea. So is that a form of emotion everyone's all different, but is that a form of emotion that is trapped?
Oh, yeah. So even just you talking about those people that haven't gone to the bathroom for 5 to 7 days, I would say that they're emotionally constipated. So they're not letting their shit go. They're not processing and releasing their emotions. They're actually holding on to that. And again, it serves them in some way, shape, or form. With diarrhea, it's literally who's giving you the shits.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
And anything... anything to do with the stomach meridian.
Yeah.
So bloating, for example, that's your body's way of actually trying to create a boundary for you. So immediately I would go to say to them, well, how can you do more for yourself? Because the stomach is all about nurturing and that. So if your body is physically trying to create a barrier between you and other people, it's time to assess, what am I doing for me? And I guarantee that once you start doing more for you and you put people second, the bloating will ease and that will calm down. 9 times out of 10, it will calm down.
So I know nutrition will play a fair part into the fiber and into constipation.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
That's definitely a part too, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. If they're, eating Maccas every day and processed food and drinking a lot of fluid with meals, then that's going to create that inflammation within the stomach, and there's no choice for it to expand. But on an emotional sense, it's, how are you nurturing yourself? What are you doing for you? Are you treating yourself with love and respect? And if not, like, are you putting others' needs before your own? And is that why you're creating that barrier between you and the other person?
So why do you do what you do? What got you into all of this? You must be a little bit of a story behind why, because I've never heard it. And anyone listening, guys, I hadn't heard of kinesiology either before talking to Ash today. So I'm one of those people. So I haven't even heard of it. So what got you into it?
What got me into it? I guess I've been in that space. I spent my 20s literally like jumping from job to job. I was, I did a fashion degree. I worked in property. I did like random cleaning, and it was just, I was lost. So it was, for me, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I kept like getting this pull back to certain things. And so I guess I know what it's like to feel lost, to feel discouraged, out of alignment, stuck, and not knowing what your purpose is. And I guess as soon as I found this and like the path that it's taken me on, I I feel probably the best that I've ever felt. And I want to give that to other people or to help guide them through that, because I know I've done the hard yards. I've put in the work, and I know when people are at certain points in their life, and I can be like, yeah, I've been there before. You know, it may not be what exactly has helped me, but I can relate and I can sympathize and empathize with them. So yeah, I guess my why is as simple as just helping and guiding them through those challenging times, and just raising that belief within themselves again to come back to themselves and know that they have that power to pivot and redirect and change their life, even when it just feels really, really scary. And there's this quote that I heard a little while ago, where it's like, you're not scared, you're at an edge. So that edge is so important to leap, and know that as soon as you leap, that net will appear and you'll be fine.
Yeah, sound like you're speaking to me then. Thanks for that.
That's okay.
I saw a quote on your website, and I don't really know what it means, but I want to read it out to people because it's interesting. I saw it and I was like, oh, that feels like it should mean something, and I want to ask you what it actually means. So it's guiding you to remember and embody our grounded soul. Can you tell me a bit more about what that means?
So I think as practitioners, we are merely here to guide. Like, we're not really here to fix. Like, there's nothing ever wrong with the person. So the guiding is, you know, I'll walk alongside you, I'll be there with you every step of the way. And it's about that remembering. So I think a lot of us really forget who we are in our true essence, because of, you know, that external stress and pressures of life. And we don't embody who we truly are. So for me to have that quote, you know, guiding you to remember and embody your grounded soul, to me, having a grounded soul is like, that's you anchoring into yourself. Like, that's who you are in your core essence, in your truest version of you, without the rubbish and the stress and all of that. So for us to uncover that together, it's amazing. And I always kind of like to think of it as, you know, the grounded soul, that beauty of us, is almost like this treasure chest that we have within us, and we just kind of leave it in the attic for like years and years and years. We let dust fester over it and we forget that it's there. But through this work, through kinesiology, through energy work, it's uncovering that treasure chest and realizing, okay, well, there's all the beautiful things that I hold about myself. There's my soul, there's my essence, there's my aligned version of me. So let's open it up. Let's see what I've forgotten and what patterns and beliefs have gotten in the way of actually getting to that grounded soul and that grounded version of me. So I guess that kind of stems back into my why. It's just like, I'm just here to be the messenger of your body, to be like, this is how you get there. Like, let's work on that together, and let's help you remember who you actually are.
It's kind of a common thing when people come to you for the first time. They have a lot of fear and are quite worried what will come up, but also there is a part of letting go. So I feel like I do need to come and see you, and I'm going to come and see you, but I feel like part of that is, oh, I've done so much healing and work on myself. I know this is another level for me, and I'm very open and very like, you read me like a book, go for it. No secrets here. But it is vulnerable. It is, you feel like, oh gosh, it's scary. And if someone's listening to this, I want them to know that I think it is a common thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have many, many, many people, like new clients, that sit there and their body language is like, oh God, get me out of here. And immediately I just say, look, it is nerve-wracking. Your subconscious will not bring up things that you don't want to talk about. And even if it can be cheeky at times and it brings up a trauma that you weren't expecting, you have the control in this session to say, Ash, I don't want to go there. And that's okay, because what your subconscious has done is just brought it to the surface, and it's still balancing that within the session. So I can't stress enough, I'm just merely the messenger. So your body is guiding me to what needs to be healed, what needs to be looked at, and what needs to be cleared. And it's not so much this daunting, like, oh my God, what's she going to find out? How is she going to read my mind? Like, what does she know that I don't know? And sometimes, within session, if it gets to that point, like I've got many clients, that I've been seeing for, over a year now. And it's only like, not only now, but I'll have like their, I guess, spirit team or guides or whatever come through. And it's just like thick and fast that I'm speaking. And I actually don't remember what I say, but those are the moments where they're like, oh my God, like, where did that come from? Like, well, clearly you needed to hear it. So I can't repeat it.
Wow. So that's what you do as well. You're very spiritual. Like, I know you've mentioned the spiritual side of things, like crystals, and like I'm green with this guy. So, but all that kind of stuff, I didn't realize that you had that other level of spiritual. Why can't I say it?
Spirituality.
Oh my God. Like 100 wines or something. I can't even say it. So you do that, you have that gift as well.
Well, within sessions, yes. For myself, not so much. I mean, yes, it's hard to explain. I think when I'm in session, when it's in service, it comes through naturally, and it's just it just feels like someone else is talking through you.
Yeah, because you're in your flow, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. But when they ask me to repeat it, I'll be like, I have no idea what I just said.
Yeah. And I'm not on that level, but I know when I speak to my clients, they'll come away and message me and be like, oh, that was really good what you told me. And I'm the same as you. I'm like,
what did I say?
Yeah. Or sometimes I'll listen to a past podcast or something and I'll be like, where did I get that shit from? Like, Barbara.
Yeah. And that's you connecting. That's you connecting and attuned to that higher source and that higher power. So, yeah, roll with that. I know that whenever it's present for me, I just get full body chills down my back. And it's just like, oh, okay, I'm being supported in this and they're wanting me to say it. So let's just get it out there and say it.
Yeah. And I've had that my whole life. Like, I've done a lot of public speaking, whether I've wanted to or not. Like, I hate it more than like everyone else does. But there's been times about before COVID, I spoke to a group of ladies with anxiety and stuff.
Yeah.
For my business now. And I remember seeing this whole group of 25 women in the circle. And I sat there and just told them about my body image issues and my journey with my body and my weight and bodybuilding and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I might have talked for about 50, like it was a long talk. And then all of a sudden I just went, I remember sitting in the circle, I stopped and I looked around and everyone like had their mouths open. We're like, oh my God. And I was like, what just happened? Like
I've got full body chills now.
It was almost like, and she's back. Like
and that's you just speaking from your heart, from your soul. That's amazing.
It was so weird. And that was when I was just about to start my business that I've got now. That was like the final thing of when I talk, people listen. And as a young girl, it's a really hard thing. Like I'll just open my mouth and strangers will just be fixed on me, like I'm this, I don't know, alien. Like they're like, wow, Barbara, wow. And it gets to the point where sometimes I'm like, can you just not look at me? Like when I'm telling stuff, because I'm getting better at it now, but you just think of a little girl at school using her voice or doing something and all the teachers and all the kids are like, oh, wow, Barbara. And I'd be like, I'm just the same as everyone else, like piss off. I don't want to be like special. And that moment a few years ago was like that tipping point for me where I said, God knows what I said. And then it was like 1, 2, 3, open your eyes. And I looked around and I was like, hello. And everyone was like, whoa. And I was like, and the facilitator took me aside afterwards. She said, you've got a real gift, Barbara. You're amazing. And I said, well, to be honest, I got no idea what I said because I was blacked out the whole time. Laugh. But that's the truth, is if anyone can resonate with me on that one, that's when you know you're doing your that was like, this is my thing. Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's so, like, I'm so happy that you brought that up, because that just shows that, like, that was your treasure chest, right? Like that was your essence of you standing in your power, just speaking from the heart, speaking from the soul. And then that fear wasn't even there. So it's incredible that, you brought that up for your listeners to actually be like, okay, well, are you living in accordance to your highest values? Like, are you doing things from your heart and your soul? And maybe that's why that fear is there, because you're not doing that. So it's, and that's, why this modality and, like what you're doing too, like your practice and uncovering that and being like, okay, let's get you back to you. Yeah. But I love that story. It's so cool. It's almost like your spirit team and your guides are like, okay, she's blacked out. Let's come in.
It was scary because I'm not a control freak. I'm really easygoing. I don't have to have, I'm not like that at all. So for me, that's really carefree and easygoing to have a moment where I was like, and coming in at that same time was my spirituality. Woo, I said it was as a spirit stuff that when I moved to Australia, I didn't believe. Like I've always been a believer, but I was like really. Sure. You're a bit of a whack job. Go smoke some weed. See you later. But then when I moved here and met a lot of people and started to go on my own journey and started to see things and someone say to me, things that people don't even know, someone would say something to me and I'd be like, oh, piss off. How do you, like, am I either going crazy, which is kind of a slight possibility, but no. And all these things are just, it's like whatever's coming for me is coming now and I'm just accepting it. I'm like, oh, that's another thing I can add. And that's another thing of confirmation that it's not just me here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I always call it like, what's the invitation today? Like, what am I being invited to do today?
Yeah.
So using those stresses, using that, I don't know, if someone messages you to be like, oh, okay, they've brought this up. What's that inviting me to unpack or uncover or just be in that essence today?
Yeah. And if people do want to see you, so I'm just kind of starting to wrap up things for today, but I think for us right now, if we were to talk about the two things that really were taking hold of women's lives right now, and I deal with a lot of women, but it can be guys too. If any guy, I know some guys listen to this, so hello. It can be anxiety and stress. I really feel right now, because all of that anxiety and stress comes from the pain in our bodies, the emotions, weight gain, depression, not being able to sleep. But I feel like these are the two pillars right now. And I know that you can help with both. You can help with anxiety and you can help with stress. And one of the things I want to talk about is I know that do some workshops. I know that you're based now. Is it do I say you're based in Melbourne or do I say you're based in Victoria is the state? So what's the best way for me to say to my listeners in New Zealand and that where you are based?
Yeah, Melbourne's fine. Yeah,
okay.
Inner city Melbourne.
Okay, cool. So people, if they're local, like I know some of my listeners are there, they can come and see you. Otherwise, you do online stuff as well. So if you're in New Zealand or whatever, you can still reach out to Ash and she can do sessions. And the cool thing about it is you work with animals as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I love it. I love working on little dogs. I've had a few that come into clinic and it's just so rewarding. I just love it.
Maybe Maisie and I need to do a girls' trip down to Melbourne, drive down
I love that.
And actually come into your clinic and see you.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, maybe we need to do that. I think that'd be awesome. So I mentioned the anxiety and do workshops. So you've got a anxiety workshop at the moment that's available?
Yeah, so that was a long time in the making. So that was my fear of putting it out there, but that's available on my website. It's a pre-recorded workshop. So it's all about how to support yourself, or even if you know someone that has anxiety, there's a lot of tips in there of how to support them through anxiety. So it's all of my love and care and nourishment in there, and there's lots of tools and techniques to help you through that.
And I'm going to link that in the show notes too, because I think it's really important right now. You know what? When we think about gifting people, I mean, it doesn't even have to be Christmas time, but if someone's birthday or you don't know what to get your partner or your girlfriend, something like that may be a really beautiful, what a beautiful gift to give to someone.
Absolutely.
And there's no shame. We all suffer anxiety on some level at some point in our lives. Like I hadn't suffered anything to do with anxiety until I was about 38, and I'm in my early 40s now. So about 38 was the first time that I experienced it and was like, oh, shit. Oh, I actually laughed at myself as I was having a mild panic attack. Funny, but not funny. But I was like, oh, this is what anxiety feels like. Oh, it's pretty shit. But So don't discount it, because it's a very strong, powerful tool, and all it is your body's just trying to help you.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a fantastic thing, but it can be so fucking crippling.
Yeah.
So if you do know someone, or you don't want to talk about it with anyone else, maybe you don't want to see someone, but definitely I highly recommend, Ash, you jump online, jump on to our website, and I'll put everything in the show notes, and check it out, and you can do it in private. No one needs to know. But it would just be such a great tool for people to have. And that's why I saw it and thought, you know what, I want to bring it up, because it can help not only coming to see you for sessions, but even just as a taster. Oh, is Ash my person? Have a look at that course and follow her on social media, and just see, because you'll know.
Yeah, you 100% know. And even if, I mean, I've had people come through through podcasts and things just because they're like, oh, I just love the way that you do this, this. But even if, I hope that you are, but even if you're not, please don't discount kinesiology as a form of healing. I would encourage you to seek someone, even if it's just in your area, you want to experience it in person. But yeah.
Yeah, but you know what a cool coffee chat it is? If you're going out for wines this weekend with your girlfriends, or coffee, or going for a walk, man, be that person that brings them, go, I just listened to this podcast with Barbs and Ash. Do you know what kinesiology is? And you'll be like, cool. I want to do that with all know now, because my girlfriends all listen to this, but it's such a cool thing. If I had listened to a podcast and be like, hey, listen to this thing called kinesiology. Do you guys know what that is? And people are like, no. And they'll be like, yeah, you get to be the person that is knowledgeable, and, you might, how interesting is it that you can change someone's life? I know I did read briefly somewhere on your website that it's a bit similar to me, that you heard the word for the first time and you were like, huh? What's that? And I think you wrote it down in your journal as I
totally did. It was so strange. I heard it and I was like, oh, maybe that's something that's for me. And I remember going on YouTube and I was watching all these random videos of them holding arms up, testing something, putting the leg out. I was like, oh no, that's not my thing. And I left it. And then I remember having I was out with girlfriends, and then she mentioned, she's like, oh, I saw my kinesiologist. She's like, what is that? Are you putting your leg in the air? What's going on? And she's like, you have to just have a session. That's the only way I can explain it. And it's so funny now, because most of my clients, when they refer people, the people that they referred, they're like, I've got no idea what it is. I'm just here to experience it. And I was like, okay, great.
That's awesome. And there's no expectations, but to go along and see but that's what I mean. Having a conversation as simple as to your girlfriends or to your family or to someone, oh, I listened to this podcast, or share it around, or just the word kinesiology may change someone's life.
Yeah, definitely changed mine. It's I cannot just express my gratitude for finding it. It's just life-changing. I love it so much.
And you're glowing. No one can see you right now, but I can tell that you're in balance and that you're on purpose, because you were just literally beaming. Your eyes sparkle, your skin's glowing, your hair's all shiny, but you're you.
Yeah. And that's my why. I want other people to have that and find that for themselves. Because I honestly, like I said at the start, this is, the best I've felt, and I'm choosing to maintain that and keep that energy surrounding me. And it just, even when, if I do get presented with a stress, I have the tools and techniques now to move through that with more ease and grace, and, nurturing energy for myself rather than the panic and all of that.
Yeah. So last question that I've got for you, and I always ask everyone, and it's always hard when we've spoken, had a really good chat, and then it's like, what's one thing, one takeaway that you'd like someone that's listening to this today to take home, take with them?
So I guess probably the biggest thing would be knowing that people are not their behaviours. So I feel like that's the biggest thing, because everyone is just doing the best that they can with the resources that they have. So when we have that knowledge, we can actually see our stresses and experiences within our life kind of grow a little bit smaller, because what we tend to do is we're like, oh, that person treated me, they said this, they did this, they blah, blah, blah. But if we have that knowledge of well, they're not their behaviors and they're just doing the best they can with what they have, it takes away that stress and that pain for us. And what it actually enables us to do when we're in that state of conflict is understand that every single human being is operating on their model of the world. So to have, that, I guess, compassion and understanding for that eases your stress so much more, because you're just like, oh, well, I'm allowed to be upset about it, but I'm not going to let it control me. So I think, my last thing would just be that understanding people are not their behaviours, and that they're just doing the best that they can with the resources they have.
Yeah. Beautiful. So if people want to reach out to you and have any questions or want to book appointments and stuff, what's the best way for people to find you?
So probably through my website. I've got a booking page. There's a form that you can fill out, and I'll contact you when I'm able to. Otherwise, I have a bunch of people that go through my Instagram and they message me privately. So that's, what's my Instagram? Grounded Soul Kinesiology. And even if, you're listening to this and you're still a little bit unclear, or if you still have questions, I'm more than happy to chat over, Instagram message, or if you want to email me. All my details are on my website, but you can find me through there, and I hope to connect with some of your beautiful listeners, and even you and your beautiful dog.
Yeah, you definitely are. You're going to, get to know us pretty well. So
I love it.
Yeah, obviously you meet people for a reason, and today was a big day for us. So so thank you so much for taking the time to be on this podcast and sharing the beautiful gift that you have and what you do, and we're putting the message out there so more people can know about it as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really grateful and thankful for you, and what a beautiful platform you've created for everyone.
Thank you. I look forward to working with you soon.
Me too.
Bye.
Bye, Pubs.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and it has inspired you on your self-care journey. Please feel free to share this with a friend and subscribe over on Apple Podcast. I really love hearing your feedback. So guys, please feel free to write a review on Apple and let me know which part of this episode resonated with you the most. To fall in love with yourself is the first secret to happiness. To find out a bit more about Self-Care Studio or the Studio Chat podcast, head over to my Instagram page, self_care_studio, or on my website, selfcarebybarbarathomson.com.au. Really look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Look after you. And I'll catch you soon. Bye.